Hi, this is our study session 4 where I continue my cybersecurity journey through Try Hack Me. In the last session, we completed search skills, how we search efficiently, making use of search engines. The next chapter of this journey is Linux fundamentals. We'll go with that. You can either watch this video or you can just read this whole thing. So I'll go with reading the whole thing, okay? Introduction. Welcome to the first part of Linux fundamentals. Room series. You're most likely using a Windows or Mac machine. Both are different in visual design and how they operate. Just like Windows, iOS, and Mac OS, Linux is just another operating system and one of the most popular in the world, powering smart cars, Android devices, supercomputers, home appliances, enterprise servers, and more. We'll be covering some of the history behind Linux and then eventually starting our journey of being a Linux wizard. This room will have you running your very first commands in interactive Linux machine in your browser, teaching you some essential commands used to interact with the file system, demonstrate how you can search for files and introduce shell operators. Let's join this room. A bit of background on Linux. Where is Linux used? It's fair to say that Linux is a lot more intimidating to approach than operating systems such as Windows. Both variants have their own advantages and disadvantages. For example, Linux is considerably more lightweight, and you'd be surprised to know that there's a good chance you have used Linux in some form or another every day. Linux powers things such as websites that you visit, car entertainment or control panels, point of sale systems such as checklists, tills, and registers in shops, critical infrastructure such as traffic light controllers or industrial sensors. Flavors of Linux. The name Linux is actually an umbrella term for the multiple OS that are based on Unix, another operating system. Thanks to Linux being open source, variants of Linux come in all shapes and sizes, suited best for what the system is being used for. So Unix is not open source, but the creator of Linux made use of Unix and created more different flavors of it, and everything is openly available to try for everybody. So, for example, Ubuntu and Debian are some of the more commonplace distributions of Linux because it is so extensible. You can run Ubuntu as a server, such as websites and web applications, or as a fully fledged desktop. For this series, we are going to be using Ubuntu. Note Ubuntu server can run on systems with only 512 MB of RAM. So to run Ubuntu on your machine, the least minimum requirement is only 512 MB of RAM. For suppose if you want to run Windows 11 or Windows 11 on your machine, I think you need minimum of 4 GB capacity RAM on your machine. So it's amazing how Ubuntu can only work with 512 MB. Similar to how you have different versions of Windows 7, 8, and 10, there are many different versions or distributions of Linux. What year was the first release of Linux operating system? It's 1991. Yeah. Interacting with your first Linux machine in browser. This room has a Ubuntu Linux machine that you can interact with all within your browser while following along this room's material. However, to get started, simply press the start machine button below. Yeah, I clicked it. This is everything how you want to operate and everything. Yes, I deployed. Then running our very first commands. As we previously discussed, a large selling point for using OS such as Ubuntu is how lightweight they can be. This, of course, doesn't come without its disadvantages. For example, often there is no GUI, graphical user interface, like in Windows, or what is also called a desktop environment that we can use to interact with the machine, unless it has been installed. A large part of interacting with these machines is using the terminal. We can see a terminal on the right side of my screen. The terminal is purely text based and is intimidating at first, and most of the people, after seeing this terminal, will stop using it. Like they'll be so intimidated, and like it's not that easy when you're a beginner like me. And I actually heard about Ubuntu and installed it on my system back when I was in my first year, but because it's a text based this command line interface, I don't know, I somehow got scared and I stopped using it after a while. All right. This is what our terminal looks like, and we can come enter our command here. We need to be able to do basic functions like navigate to files, output their contents, and make files. The commands to do so are self-explanatory once you know what they are, of course. Let's get started with two of the first commands, which I have broken down in the table below. Echo, output any text we want to that we provide. They give an example here, echo hello. We can also write echo hello world. Oh my god, I wrote hello world, I'm sorry. But when your sentence has spaces in between, it's always advised to use double quotations so the compiler doesn't get confused. Yeah. Next command is who am I? Find out what user you're currently logged in as. Let's find out. Try hack me. Yeah. See the snippets below for an example of each command being used. We just did a practical example. As shown in the terminal above, if we want echo as a single word, we don't need to use double quotes. For example, echo hello. However, the string should be enclosed within double quotes if one or more spaces are present. For example, echo hello world. Who am I can be used to find the username we are logged in as. We got the output as try hack me. If we wanted to output the text try hack me, what would your command be? Echo try hack me. What is the username of who you are logged in as on your deployed Linux machine? Try hack me. Interacting with the file system. So far, we have only covered the echo and who am I commands. Not all that useful when you consider things that we need to do, including navigating the files, read and write to it as well. In this task, we are going to be learning the commands so that we can just do that. Just like the previous task, I'll display the commands in the table in the next heading and show examples of these commands being used. Interacting with the file system. As I previously stated, being able to navigate the machine that you're logged into without relying on a desktop environment is pretty important. After all, what's the point of logging in if we can't go anywhere? The first command is ls. This lists all the files or folders present in your current directory. The next one is where you cd, where you can, if you want to navigate into a folder or a directory, you can just use this cd. Cd is short for change directory. So we'll go to folder one, I guess. Then we'll try listing out there's nothing over here. If you want to go back to our parent folder, we came from Linux 1 to folder 1. So we want to go back to Linux 1. Just type cd dot dot. We went back to it. Now click enter ls again. We'll be able to see our folders over here. All right. Now cat is to concatenate. pwd is print working directory. We completed listing files. In this screenshot they give, we can see that there are the following directories: important files, my documents, notes, and pictures. Great. You can probably take a guess as to what to expect a folder to contain given by its name. Pro tip: you can list the contents of a directory without having to navigate to it by using ls in the name of the directory. Oh yeah, let's try. ls folder 2. Oh, there's nothing in that either. ls folder 3. ls folder 4. There's node.txt in folder 4. All right. This is changing our directory. We just did this. outputting the contents of a file. While knowing about the existence of files is great, it's not all that useful unless we are able to view the contents of them. We will come on to discuss some of the tools available to us that allows us to transfer files from one machine to another in a later room. But for now, we are going to talk about simply seeing the contents of text files using a command called cat. Cat is short for concatenating and is a fantastic way for us to output the contents of files, not just text files. In the screenshot below, you can see that I have combined the use of ls to list the files within a directory called domains. Okay, so let's go inside folder 4 since it contains node.txt file. ls, we have node.txt. We'll try checking what's there in node.txt. So for that, we need to use cat node.txt. Hello world. There's hello world in that. We applied some knowledge from earlier in this task to do the following. Used ls to let us know what files are available in the documents folder. We used ls to get to know what contents are in the folder 4. That is node.txt. And then we used cat command to get to know the contents of node.txt using cat node.txt. Pro tip, you can use the cat to output the contents of a file within directories without having to navigate it by using cat and the name of the directory. Let's try that. Let's go back to our parent folder first. Cat. I think it's like this folder 4 node.txt. Oh yeah, we got it. Okay. Next is finding out the full path of our current working directory using PWD. PW is short for print working directory. You'll notice as you progress through navigating your Linux machine, the name of the directory that you're currently working in will be listed in your terminal. It's easy to lose track of where we are on the file system exactly, which is why I want to introduce PWD. This stands for print working directory. Using the machine from before, we are currently in the documents folder. Okay, we are in the folder 4, not cat, cd, folder 4. Okay, we are in the folder 4. But where is this exactly on the Linux machine system? We can find this out using pwd command like within the screenshot below. Okay, this is a working directory. It just printed the whole path. All right. Okay. On Linux machine that you deploy, how many folders are there? Four. Which directory contains a file? Folder 4. What is the contents of this file? Hello world. Use the cd command to navigate to this file and find out the new current working directory. What is the path? Home, try hackme, then folder 4. Yes. Yeah. Searching for files. Although it doesn't seem like it so far, one of the redeeming features of Linux is truly how efficient you can be with it. With that said, you can only be as efficient as you're familiar with it, of course. As you interact with OS such as Ubuntu over time, essential commands like those we have already covered will start to become muscle memory. One fantastic way to show just how efficient you can be with the systems like this is using a set of commands to quickly search for files across the entire system that our user has access to. No need to consistently use cd and ls to find out what is where. Instead, we can use commands such as find to automate things like this for us. This is where Linux start to become a bit more intimidating to approach. But we'll break this down and ease you into it. Using find. The find command is fantastic in the sense that it can be used both very simple or rather complex depending upon what is you want to do exactly. However, let's stick to the fundamentals first. Take the snippet below. We can see a list of directories available to us. Yeah, when you type ls, you will see for us in our system, the machine we are provided with, we can see access.log, folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, folder 4. Hold on, I'll just list it out. See, access.log, folder 1, folder 2, folder 3, folder 4. Now, what they gave us, now of course, directories can contain even more directories within themselves. It becomes a headache when we are having to look through every single one just to try and look for specific files. We can use find to do just this for us. Let's start simple and assume that we already know the name of the file we are looking for, but can't remember where it is exactly. In this case, we are looking for passwords.txt. If we remember the file name, we can just use find name password.txt. Okay, we don't have password.txt in our file, so we'll just use find name node.txt. It's in the folder 4. Okay. Next, find has managed to find the file. It turns out it is located in the folder 4. Sweet. But let's say that we don't know the name of the file or want to search for every file that has an extension such as txt. Find, let's us do that too. L- Okay, yeah. We can simply use what's known as wildcard star to search for anything. Okay, instead of this one. Okay, there's only one file with .txt extension, which is node.txt. File has managed to find node.txt with its name, and also if you don't know the name exactly, but only the extension .txt. Now using grep. Another great utility that is a great one to learn about is the use of grep. The grep command allows us to search the contents of files for specific values that we are looking for. Take for example the access log of a web server. In this case, the access log of a web server has 244 entries. How do we find that? We also have access.log. WCL access.log. We have 302 entries in access.log file. Using a command like cat isn't going to cut it too well here. Let's say, for example, if we want to search this log file to see the things that a certain user or IP address visited, looking through 244 entries isn't all that efficient considering we want to find a specific value. We can use grep to search the entire contents of this file for any entries of the value that we are searching for. Going with the example of a web server's access log, we want to see everything that the IP address 80 mentioned above, 81.143.211.90 has visited. Note that this is fictional, of course. Let's find out that too. Grep 81.143.211 point. Oh my god, I did some shit. 211.90 access.log. Okay, there isn't any no IP address in that access.log. Let's see what's, oh god, it's gonna be so much. grep has searched this file and has shown us that entries of what we have provided is contained within this log file for the IP. They in the given example, they did have that, so it displayed, but in the machine, we don't have anything with the IP address mentioned above. Yeah. Use grep on access.log to find the flag that has the prefix of THM. What is the flag name? We have prefix THM. Okay, grep, grep, THM, access.log. Is that not how? Shit, I didn't do that. Yeah, get THM access. Done. Linux operators are a fantastic way to power up your knowledge of working with Linux. There are a few important operators that are worth noting. We'll cover the basics and break them down according to a bit-sized chunks. The first one is ampersand, and this operator allows you to run commands in the background of your terminal. And two ampersands combined together. This operator allows you to combine multiple commands together in one line of your terminal. Like if you want to combine command one and command two, you want both of them to work at the same time, you can just say command one and command two. Greater than. This operator is a redirector, meaning that we can take the output from a command, such as using cat to output a file and direct it elsewhere. Greater than is the operator does the same function of greater than operator but appends the output rather than replacing, means nothing is overwritten. Okay, operator and this operator allows us to execute commands in the background. For example, let's say we want to copy a large file. This will obviously take quite a long time and will leave us unable to do anything else until the file successfully copies. The end shell operator allows us to execute a command and have it run in the background, such as this file copy, allowing us to do other things. It lets us run some background tasks while we actually focus on the task we want to work on. The operator end. This shell operator is a bit misleading in the sense of how familiar is to its partner end. Unlike the end operator, we can use two ampersands together to make a list of commands to run, for example, command 1 and command 2. However, it's worth noting that command 2 will only run if command 1 was successful. Operator greater than. This operator is what known as output redirector. What this essentially means is that we take the output from a command we run and send that output to somewhere else. A great example of this is redirecting the output of echo command that we learned in task 4. Of course, running something such as echo howdy will return howdy back to our terminal. That has been super useful. What we can do instead is return howdy to something such as a new file. Let's say we wanted to create a file named welcome with the message hey. We can run echo hey welcome where we want the file created with the contents hey like so. Okay, echo hey welcome. Okay, now cat welcome. Yes, hey is put in the file welcome. Now let's also try with double greater than. This operator allows us to append the output to the bottom of the file rather than replacing the contents. So what we'll do is echo welcome inside. Now cat welcome. Hey welcome. Yeah. If we wanted to run a command in the background, what operator we would want to use? And if I wanted to replace the contents of a file named passwords with the password 123, what would my command be? If I wanted to replace the contents of a file named passwords with the word, okay, echo password 123 greater than. Now, if I wanted to add tryhackme to this file named password, but also keep password 123, what would my command be? Now use the deployed Linux machine to put this. We already did so. All right, we'll conclude this session. Nice work on getting to this stage. We covered quite a bit for your first interactions with Linux. However, these are the most essential or essential functions you are going to be using whenever you interact with a Linux machine. I hope this room hasn't been too daunting for you to power on through with. It's as I previously mentioned, you are going to become familiar with these things very quickly because of how often you are going to be using them. To quickly recap, we have covered the following: understanding why Linux is so commonplace today, interacting with your first ever Linux machine, ran some of the most fundamental commands, had an introduction to navigating around the file system, and how we can use commands like find and grep to make finding data even more efficient. Power up your commands by learning about some of the most important shell operators. Take some time to have a play around in this room. When you feel a little bit more comfortable, progress onto Linux fundamentals part 2. Done. Wait, we haven't terminated. Hold on. Yes, terminate. Done. Check. Completed. Thank you guys for joining this. So they also gave Echo is analyzing our performance where we did if we did any mistakes or anything. Yeah, you can check this out. But yeah, it's done. Thank you for joining this.